Wonderful. Who is Mr. Wonderful? Let me tell you, this is a new generation. You're looking at...
Nobody ever saw it coming. The heartbreaking downfall of Dr. Death, Steve Williams. He was a powerhouse in the ring, a real tough guy who seemed almost unstoppable. But in the end, it wasn't an opponent that took him down. It was something far more cruel. Throat cancer ended his life way too soon, and it's a tragedy that still hits hard. So today, let's take a closer look at what really happened to Steve Williams and how his story took such a heartbreaking turn. Steve Williams' story took a heartbreaking turn in his later years, and a big part of that was his battle with throat cancer. It was a fight that really shook the wrestling world. Known as Dr. Death, he had a reputation for being one of the toughest men to ever step inside a wrestling ring. So when news broke that he was fighting something as serious as cancer, it didn't seem real. He was a warrior, strong, fearless, and larger than life. At first, it looked like he beat it. He was declared cancer-free and even made an incredible return to the ring, showing everyone that he still had that fighting spirit. But sadly, the cancer came back, and this time, it was too much. In 2009, at just 49 years old, Steve Williams passed away. It was a loss that hit hard, and for many fans, it was even more shocking than the drug troubles he had faced earlier in life. You see, Williams' struggles didn't start with cancer. Back in 1988, he was reportedly caught with a stash of drugs that included cocaine, marijuana, mushrooms, barbiturates, and steroids. That incident was just the start of a string of problems that followed him. He ran into trouble at airports in both Texas and Michigan, getting arrested for drug-related issues. In 1994, things got even worse when he was detained at a Japanese airport. That incident led to a one-year ban from wrestling in Japan, one of the places where he was actually a big star. Eventually, he was allowed back, but the damage had already been done. The image of Dr. Death had taken a serious hit. Even with those setbacks, Steve Williams still had big moments left in his career. In 1998, he joined WWE, still called WWF at the time, and there were huge plans for him. The company saw him as a legit tough guy who could go toe-to-toe with their top stars. In fact, there were early talks about setting up a major feud between Williams and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That could have been career-changing, but then came one of the strangest and most damaging ideas in WWE history, the Brawl For All tournament. Now, if you're not familiar with it, the Brawl For All was a real-life tough men competition where wrestlers had to box each other for real. No scripts, no acting, just fists flying. The whole thing was the brainchild of Vince Russo, and to this day, it's looked back on as a complete disaster. Williams was expected to dominate the tournament. With his legit background in amateur wrestling and his reputation for being a real bruiser, he seemed like a sure bet to win it all. But wrestling is full of surprises, sometimes the bad kind. In the second round of the tournament, Williams went up against Bart Gunn, and in a moment that stunned everyone, Bart knocked him out cold. That one punch didn't just end a match, it ended Williams' momentum in WWE. The company had been ready to push him into the main event scene, but after that loss, all those plans were scrapped. On top of that, Williams suffered a torn hamstring during the fight, which only made things worse. His WWE run, which had started with so much hope, was suddenly going nowhere. Looking back, the knockout in Brawl For All was more than just a loss, it was a turning point. It knocked him off the big stage in WWE, and while he still wrestled in other promotions after that, he never quite reached the same level again. Combine that with his earlier drug issues and the heartbreaking battle with cancer, and you get the full picture of a man who went through more than his fair share of pain. It's just as important to remember everything he accomplished in his career too. So let's take a look back, shall we? His pro wrestling journey officially began in 1982, when he was trained by none other than Bill Watts and Buddy Landel, two seasoned veterans who saw serious potential in him. Williams broke into the business through Mid-South Wrestling, the gritty, hard-hitting promotion run by Watts himself. With his legit athletic background and raw intensity, it didn't take long for Williams to make an impression. Fans were drawn to his physical style, and promoters saw star potential. By 1985, just a few years into his career, he was already getting major opportunities. One of his earliest big angles came when he teamed up with Ted DiBiase in a fierce and memorable feud against Eddie Gilbert and the Nightmare. The rivalry was intense, filled with brutal brawls and high drama, just the kind of spotlight Williams needed to raise his profile. Then in 1986, a big shift happened. Mid-South Wrestling rebranded itself as the Universal Wrestling Federation, aiming to go national. This was a turning point, not just for the promotion, but for Williams too. The new branding brought more attention, more TV time, and a bigger stage, and Williams took full advantage of it. That same year, he captured the UWF Heavyweight Championship by defeating Big Bubba Rogers. It was a defining moment. No longer just a promising athlete, Williams had officially arrived as a top-tier talent. His victory showed that he wasn't just a powerhouse. He had the skill, presence, and toughness to carry a promotion. When Jim Crockett Promotions bought out the UWF in 1987, only a few wrestlers from that roster got a real push in the new setup, and Williams was one of them. He appeared regularly in the NWA and Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, and even had stints in World Class and New Japan Pro Wrestling. In 1988, he got caught up in a wild storyline involving Jimmy Garvin, Kevin Sullivan, and the Varsity Club. Williams first fought against them, but then flipped sides and joined the Varsity Club later that year. He won tag titles alongside Sullivan and later with Mike Rotunda, taking on some of the top teams like the Road Warriors. By mid-1989, the Varsity Club had broken up, and Williams switched back to being a good guy. He had a short feud with Rotunda, and then got into a storyline with Lex Luger. Williams was supposed to challenge Luger for the US title at WrestleWar 1990, but plans changed after Sting got injured, and Luger was bumped up to the main event. Shortly after that, Williams left the company. But his story didn't slow down. He jumped to Japan and wrestled at the Tokyo Dome in early 1990, beating Salman Hashimikov. Then he made a major move to All Japan Pro Wrestling, teaming up with Terry Gordy to form the Miracle Violence Connection. They'd actually started teaming back in the Crockett days, but Japan took them to another level. In March 1990, they beat legends Stan Hansen and Genichiro Tenryu for the AJPW tag team titles. Throughout the early 90s, Williams split time between All Japan and New Japan, which was unusual back then. But by 1991, he was full-time in All Japan and a fan favorite. In 1992, he and Gordy even returned to WCW for a brief run, winning the WCW tag titles and making it to the finals of the NWA Tag Team Tournament. They had wars with the Steiner brothers and the Dangerous Alliance before eventually dropping the titles and heading back to Japan. Williams continued to rise in Japan. In 1994, he beat Mitsuharu Misawa for the prestigious Triple Crown Championship, one of the biggest moments of his career. Over the years, he defeated top names like Kenta Kobashi and Jun Akiyama, building his legacy as one of the most successful foreign wrestlers in Japanese history. His final match in All Japan's first run came in 1998, where he gave a heartfelt farewell to Giant Baba and the fans before heading to the WWF. In the late 1990s, Williams made a notable appearance in Extreme Championship Wrestling. At the event Crossing the Line Again in February 1997, he faced Raven for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Despite a valiant effort, Williams suffered his first defeat in the United States in over a decade, marking a significant moment in his career. Williams' reputation as a formidable wrestler caught the attention of the World Wrestling Federation, leading to his signing in May 1998. He was brought in with high expectations, particularly for the Brawl For All tournament, a series of legitimate fights among wrestlers. Unfortunately, during a match against Bart Gunn, Williams suffered a torn quadriceps and was knocked out, derailing his momentum and leading to a period of recovery. After healing, Williams returned to WWF in early 1999, engaging in various storylines, including a brief partnership with commentator Jim Ross. He also had feuds with wrestlers like Hardcore Holly and Tiger Ali Singh. Despite these efforts, Williams was released from WWF in April 1999, partly due to lingering injuries and creative differences. Seeking new opportunities, Williams briefly joined World Championship Wrestling later that year. He participated in matches alongside manager Oklahoma and feuded with wrestlers like Vampiro. However, his time in WCW was short-lived. And by the end of 1999, he returned to All Japan Pro Wrestling, where he had previously found significant success. In AJPW, Williams revitalized his career, forming a tag team with Big Van Vader and capturing the World Tag Team Championship. He engaged in memorable feuds with wrestlers such as Toshiaki Kawada and Keiji Muto, showcasing his enduring talent and determination. Williams continued to wrestle in Japan until early 2003, when he decided to focus on opportunities in the United States. Back in the US, Williams worked with various independent promotions, including the Christian Wrestling Federation, where he became the heavyweight champion. His commitment to his faith was evident, as he used his platform to inspire others and share his beliefs. In March 2004, Williams faced his toughest opponent yet, throat cancer. He underwent surgery and by March 2005 was declared cancer-free. Demonstrating his indomitable spirit, Williams returned to the ring, wrestling matches and mentoring young talent in Ohio Valley Wrestling, WWE's developmental territory. Williams continued to make appearances in various wrestling promotions, sharing his experiences and inspiring others with his story of perseverance. After the tragic death of his friend and rival, Mitsuharu Misawa in 2009, Williams decided to retire from wrestling. His final match took place in August 2009, where he won the ACW Heavyweight Championship before vacating the title and stepping away from the ring. Steve "Dr. Death" Williams passed away on December 29, 2009. His legacy lives on through his contributions to professional wrestling and the countless lives he touched with his resilience and unwavering faith. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.